A lot of Canadians don't know the difference between an early and regular mortgage renewal, but understanding it could actually save you thousands. Mark Ting is with us today to explain the key differences and share the strategies he used when locking in his own mortgage. So Mark is our guide to personal finance and a partner with Foundation Wealth. Mark, hello there.
Hi.
Now set the scene for us. When is your personal mortgage up for renewal, and when did you decide it was time to start looking for options?
So mine is up on September 8th. And I actually started looking at options 3 months prior. And part of that was because of habit, because I used to be a mortgage broker. I worked for a credit union, and this is what I did on a daily basis. And back then, you got like 2 months, we called it regular renewals, where essentially if you picked a rate or you negotiated and rate went down during that 2 months, you got the lowest rate. So I knew other places had 2 months or 3 months. So that's why I thought, I'm going to go for 3 months. But in fact, things have changed. Things are very different now. And now we have those early renewals versus the regular renewals. And things that are further out are considered early renewals, and the conditions on them are quite different.
Okay, so why did you start 3 months in advance again?
So it's basically because of what my thought process was. Let's get this started early as possible. I wanted a lot of time to negotiate. But once I learned the difference between the two, it clicked, because I honestly didn't know. And I've had a lot of mortgages over the last couple of decades. So the one thing that I learned was early renewals was all that I was talked about. When I talked to my mortgage broker, the person at my lender, he didn't even mention the regular renewals. So this is a distinction. I should probably get to that. So if 3 months earlier, if I chose and I liked the rate and I said, okay, I'm going to sign on the dotted line, let's go for this, that would take effect the very next day. I didn't want that to happen because my rate was like 2%. And if I signed off, it'd be more like 4% of that day off. And I would be like, well, can I wait until it actually renews and then do it? And they said no. So that's the trick. And I go, well, why don't you give me a rate guarantee? You used to do that for months. And they say, we don't do that anymore. The only rate guarantee they would give me is for 1 week. I was like, okay, fine. So this is what I did. I felt it was worth taking the time. So 2 months out, 3 months out, I would essentially get that early renewal rate guarantee for 2 products, a variable and a fixed. And every Thursday, because that was my weekly renewal, I would email them and say, hey, has the rates changed? Have they gone up, down? And if they said no, okay, I did not lock in at that point. I just did another renewal, and I did that for many weeks, just every week figuring that out. So essentially, the goal is, because the goal is not to renew early. The goal is to keep your existing low mortgage rate as low as possible, but to also negotiate and have some powers when it does come for renewal.
Okay, now, so your plan is that to keep securing weekly rate guarantees until your mortgage renews then?
Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit complicated again. So now, I don't actually have to do it until the actual renewal date, because there's something called the regular renewal. I know, it's getting complicated here. So the early renewal is, in my case, any dates past or over 36 days from my renewal date. Okay, so my renewal date is September 8th, right. And essentially on August 3rd, I change from early renewal to regular renewal.
I see. Okay.
And that's where I want to be. So far I've been limping week to week to week to get into the regular renewal. Now, regular renewal is where you want to be and where you really want to negotiate. Because if you negotiate your rate there, it doesn't happen the very next day. It happens on your renewal date. So I can keep my 2% until September 8th, and then whatever I negotiated will come into effect September 9th. I
see. You don't have that 1 week limit kind of thing.
Right. It's a full, in my case, 36 days, which is much better.
So are these, options, this early and regular renewal options that you mentioned, are they specific to your lender, or do they apply more broadly across the industry?
No, they're broadly across the industry, but the industry has changed so much since I've used to do this. So what I would suggest is all lenders have their little idiosyncrasies, their little nuances. Some have 36 days like mine. I don't know how they chose that date. Some have 2 months, some have 3 months, some have 2 weeks. So essentially what you want to do with your lender, well before this, you want to know the jargon. You want to talk to your lender and say, hey, what's the early renewal date cutoff and what is the regular renewal? That's a very powerful date because you want to cross that line. I found that ChatGPT was really good with this. I asked it a bunch of questions. It was like, is this regular renewal versus early renewal for this bank or this lender? And it basically broke it down for me. And you want to do this for a couple of reasons, because you want to go in sounding very knowledgeable when it comes to your negotiations. So you're not green at all. So when you actually talk to somebody, they're like, okay, this person knows what they're talking about.
You were a mortgage broker. You can't get more experience than that.
I didn't know, though. Like, honestly, it's changed so much. Like, if you think about it, like mortgage rates, I've had mortgages for like 20 years. This is the first renewal I've done. Because when interest rates keep going down, most people do not go to the full term. They will refinance, so they'll blend and extend, and that's exactly what I did in 2000.
I see.
Because it went through. So this is the first time, but that's what I mean. A lot of people are exactly like me. They have no idea about this distinction, and it's very important to know these things.
All right. So before you go, if someone is in their, let's say, their regular renewal window, any other tips for negotiating a better rate?
Yeah, this is what really shocked me, because you can get the offer online. And historically, I was always taught you never take that first offer, you never get the offline, the posted rate for mortgage. But nowadays, it's usually the best rate. So I went through 3 things. You could just go online where you just click a button, renew your mortgage, they'll give you all the things. That's typically your best rate now. And then if you don't, like, I obviously wanted to fact check that. So I talked to my branch. They had a higher rate. And then you also talk to the professional bank people, mortgage brokers, and they had the middle rate. But everybody's very competitive now. But I would try to get actually the online offer. It's usually the best one.
Well, it's a big talker this year. There's a lot of people with mortgages up for renewal, aren't there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Big one. Mark, thank you.
Thank you.
That's Mark Ting. He is our guide to personal finance and a partner with Foundation Wealth. He joins us every Thursday afternoon here at On the Coast.